Hey YouTube, good morning my fellow rebels. This is Side Hustle Tuesdays and we have a great story for you guys today. So today's hustle is going to appeal to those of you out there who are parents trying to juggle a lot of different things. However, even those of you guys who are not parents should appreciate this story. So today's story is going to be about drop shipping and private labeling, which I know are topics many of you guys are interested in. And in today's story, we'll be talking about a mom who launched her own private label wine and spa brand, and who's also hustling on the side, selling calendars, offering coaching to other aspiring entrepreneurs. She's also an Amazon associate, meaning she participates in the Amazon affiliate program as well. And what I kind of like about today's story is where a lot of these side hustles seem very polished and the entrepreneurs seem to make it look easy. Today's story is a bit more fumbling and bumbling. And I don't say that as an insult to today's entrepreneur. I say that in the sense of today's story is a lot more relatable to me, and I imagine to you guys as well. So some of these stories are like, yeah, so Jim and his friend decided to create their own make your own gin at home kit, and they did it out of their apartment, and they set up a simple website, and 3 months later they did 1.7 million units in sales. Yeah, seems easy enough. Sign me up, right? Today's story, while it is a successful one, seems more relatable, I think, to many of us. There's more of a struggle, and even today, as this wine brand is successful and profitable, I see this entrepreneur selling calendars, being an affiliate marketer, selling coaching, and basically just really grinding it out, doing a lot of different things. So today's story is going to be about Heather Christian. Heather works as an accountant in San Diego, California. She's a mom, and she was stressed out about having to return to work after having her baby. She was trying to prove to her company she was still a good worker, she was trying to be a good mom, and she was trying to hit the gym to lose some of that baby weight, and she was stressed out. One day she said, "I'm one stressed mommy," and the name kind of stuck. That was her brand. Unfortunately, she didn't even know what that brand would sell yet. The next step was to consider what her brand should sell. Now, let me just say, while it worked for Heather, this is kind of a backwards way to create a business. First having a brand name and then having to figure out what to sell is not typically how I would do things, but you know, what the heck, it worked out for Heather. So the idea was Stressed Mommy would be a great name for a brand of wine. You may think starting your own wine brand would be difficult, and yes, it is. And while I don't know a ton about the wine industry, any regulated industry is tricky, and obviously alcohol is a regulated industry. There's certain rules about how it can be shipped. You may or may not need some type of age verification feature on your website. Basically, there's just some additional things to consider which you wouldn't have to consider if you were selling socks, for example. Furthermore, a winery requires a huge investment and probably a lot of knowledge about wine, but that's not what Heather did. Heather went to Google and searched a short phrase, quote unquote, private label wine. She discovered it's actually pretty easy. There's wineries out there and companies who will make wine and then put your company's name on the bottle. Now, it may not be the best wine out there, but let's be honest, most people don't know their wines that well, and most people would rank a $2 chuck above a fancy wine anyway. So with this market, we're not really dealing with wine connoisseurs who buy $500 bottles of wine in the first place. Well, she was trying to find a vendor. She had a lot of questions, probably questions that you guys as well as I have had when we're dealing with Alibaba or AliExpress vendors. Things like, do I need to provide a logo or will you help me make one? Will you send me labels and bottles and I have to label them myself, or will you do that for me? Should I buy in the USA or abroad? What is the MOQ or minimum order quantity? Will you send me a sample, etc.? Heather also had some questions she was asking herself as well. Questions like, do I even have the space to store these in my house, or do I need to rent a warehouse or a storage unit? Do these products expire? If so, that obviously affects how many bottles you'd probably want to order and carry in inventory. Do I have money to invest in advertising? And even if I do I even want to spend money on advertising, or do I just want to try to grow this organically on social media? This research process allowed Heather to learn how the private label industry worked and also what direction she wanted to go in. Around the same time, she learned about dropshipping, which is where she would take orders and then place the orders with her dropshipper so that they could send the orders out to her customers, but with her name and company on them so the customers didn't know that she wasn't fulfilling the orders herself. So what Heather did is what a lot of us do when we first get into dropshipping. She signed up for a 30-day trial on an online consolidated dropshipping database site. Now, these are companies who have a database of vendors who will dropship for you. If you Google how to dropship, you're likely to come across companies like this. I also noticed many times in comments and emails you guys ask, should I have to pay to dropship? Many of these companies will charge you a fee to be part of their network. So when Heather began cross-referencing some of these products that the dropshipper carried on eBay and Amazon, she realized that there wasn't a lot of room for margin and not much room to make a profit. And in many cases, the prices from her dropshippers were even higher than the products we're selling on Amazon for. Now, this is a typical problem that you face when you deal with middlemen. And I get a lot of emails and comments from you guys like, hey, I found this dropshipper, but they're charging me more than Amazon. Like, what the heck? How am I supposed to make any money, right? So there are middlemen and third-party companies who will fill the role of making the process of dropshipping or private labeling much easier. And I kind of have a quick story to share that kind of highlights this. So I was looking into private labeling my own brand of rolling papers a while back. So I looked to Indonesia, which is where most of the rolling papers are made, and I could get a pack of hemp rolling papers for about 6 cents per book. Now that seems pretty cheap to me. And they would be packaged in cartons of 20 to 25 books per carton, kind of like retail cartons like you'd see on the counter at a convenience store. And they'd be packaged in 20 to 25 books per carton depending on the size of the paper. Now the process of packaging and design for the papers as well as the resale cartons was pretty confusing, and really the entire process was pretty confusing, knowing what types of papers I wanted. There's all different lengths, what type of gum did I want on my papers, and there really wasn't a good FAQ page on any of these companies' websites to explain these questions to me. And even upon asking, customer service answers weren't really great as far as clarifying this for me. I later stumbled upon some USA companies who did the same exact thing. However, their website was in English. They had a nice clean template for the papers and the retail cartons, which I could pass along to my designer. Or they even had an in-house graphic design team that would help you with your logos and things like that. You could also pay for your order via PayPal or credit card rather than Western Union or MoneyGram, which the other suppliers only accepted. The problem, however, was they charged $1.60 per book of rolling papers. While they did streamline the process, it was also quite an upcharge at $1.60 over the cost of 6 cents, which I could get them in Indonesia for. So the moral of the story is if somebody's going to hold your hand and simplify the process for you, you're going to pay for it. And it's typically worth, even if it's confusing, even if it's challenging, it's typically worth, doing the research and figuring things out for yourself, because anytime that it's going to be made easier for you, you're going to pay for that convenience. So anyhow, getting back to Heather's story, Heather spoke on the phone with a sales rep, and he casually mentioned that one of the benefits that they have is that they save you the time of having to contact the vendor yourself. And this was a mistake on his part, as Heather was pretty resourceful, and she figured, if I can figure out how to contact the vendor directly, I can probably get a better price. So she started the wine line, and then she continued to experiment with private labeling and dropshipping. She also sells spa products, which is nice in that it kind of goes with wine and goes along with that brand. I imagine a stressed out mom would probably enjoy both these products, sitting in the bathtub with a bath bomb and a nice bottle of wine. Now, between her website, stressedmommy.com, and her sales through Amazon and her website, it was averaging over $1,000 per month in profit. Now, she continues to work her day job as well as explore other opportunities. On her site, she shares lessons she learned through this process and also consults with other people who want to do the same thing that she's doing. So I thought this story was fun for a number of reasons. First, despite her busy schedule, working, being a new mom, etc., she found time to start a business. I also like how this story was pretty relatable. While her wine and spa business is having success, I also see her offering coaching and consulting, doing the Amazon affiliate program, so she's really just kind of grinding it out, and that's something that I think is cool and something that I think we can all kind of relate to. One last thing about what Heather did. I see a lot of people who want to roll out 6 private label products all at the same time, often 6 totally unrelated products. I like how Heather's 2 products, wine and spa products, well, not directly related, they definitely go together. I also like how she focused on getting one thing right and one product or one business right, the wine business, before moving on to the spa business. And that made it easier for the spa business to succeed, because if you sell a bottle of wine to stressed out moms, I'm sure some of those moms like sitting in the bathtub with a bottle of wine and maybe want a candlelight or a bath bomb or some, essential oils or something like that to throw in the bath. And she also sells those products as well. So it's a lot easier to, add the spa products as like an upsell or an add-on or as a gift basket. So anyhow, guys, that's the story for today. I hope you guys enjoyed today's story. I hope you were inspired. And until next time, this is Rules for Rebels with Side Hustle Tuesdays, signing off.